welcome to Old Time Knits. This is episode 28. Today is January 17th, 2024. My name is Marie and I'm coming to you from Central New Hampshire. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Old Time Knits. If you're new here, welcome. I've had a lot of new subscribers lately. Thank you so much. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. You're always so supportive and it's so appreciative. This is my knitting podcast where I share my love of all my knitting and all the yarny goodness. So if this sounds like something you would enjoy, then come on in and let's get started. Okay, first up, I thought I would talk about what I am wearing. This is the Hush sweater by Tin Can Knits. And I knit this, I think, like a year or so ago. What a wonderful sweater. I have worn this a lot. All of my Tin Can Knits patterns that I have, all of the items I have knit from them, I have worn continuously. My Love Note is another one. But anyway, this is in... This was knit in lamb strings yarn, and I happen to have a skein of it, so I thought I would show you. Lamb strings yarn, and this is the fawn base, so it's a superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon, and she labels this as a heavy sock in the cider mill colorway. I did hold it together with Knitting for Olive mohair. I think it was the dark cognac colorway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I do have a project page on it, and I did go into extensive detail when I was knitting it, and you can go back and find that video. Maybe I'll try and link it here. But yeah, wonderful, really nice yarn, and it has held up well. I did have some pilling, but I think it's gotten better over time, which makes me so happy because I've been on this war with trying to decide if I really want so much mohair in my life, but it's just so beautiful. The fabric is awesome, but a lot of times the pilling is a lot. So anyway, that is what I'm wearing. So I do have some notes in front of me today. Let's get on to finished objects. But first, before I do that, I have to say thanks for all the love on my new spot. I decided to come back here because I feel like the light is really, it's quite user-friendly, although I do see some shadows. I don't think you guys care about that. But you guys cracked me up so bad about my hair. I had my hair pulled back in that video, and I had so many comments about that. You guys, I love you guys so much. I never know what's going to trigger comments or how people are going to react to things. But you just cracked me up so bad. It was so fun to hear that. So anyway, enough of that. So on to finished objects. This was a work in progress in my last video. Go. I got a pair of socks. I know, socks again. I do have two. And so I will put one down so that I can talk about it. Oh my gosh, you guys, this yarn. Okay, so DK weight, US 3.25 millimeter needles. This is just a recipe that I have learned over time and what works for me. I didn't use a pattern. I've had a lot of questions about it. It really is just a basic vanilla sock, and if you need to find a tutorial for doing DK socks, then the Craziest Sock Lady has a video tutorial for that. But anyway, so I did 10 rounds on the leg, 1 by 1 ribbing. I think I did 40 rounds, on the cuff, on the leg, heel flap and gusset, and then I think I did 36 rounds before the toe on this one. This is a US women's size 8. This is a gift. OMG, you guys. Do people say that anymore? I just can't with this color. Okay, so let's talk about the yarn. The yarn is from Yarn Inc. She had a spectacular sale just before Christmas, and I jumped in on it. And this is her classic DK. It's 246 yards, 75 merino, 25 nylon. This is probably my favorite amount, and it's in the jazz colorway. Gosh, I think I could do a sweater in this. It would be amazing. So this is what I had left. I actually had quite a bit left, so I probably could have done you know, heels or toes, but I just love the contrasting colors. I just think it makes it pop so much. Look, I can't get over the speckles and the colors in this. It's just fabulous. So these are going to a young girl that I work with. I knit her a pair last year, and she just loved them so much. So I thought this is a fun color for her. So that is finished object number 1. Oh, love that color. And I love her DK weight. 246 to 250 yards is like my sweet spot for DK socks. A lot of times people are worried that their DK socks will be too thick, and indeed they can be thick if you use a thicker yarn, obviously. Sometimes the DKs are more like a light worsted, and when I use a yarn that has like 230 or 231 yardage on it, it comes out with a thicker sock and it's not quite as comfortable. These fit in my shoes, in my boots, in my clogs. They're not that much thicker than fingering weight. And I just think they just go so fast. So I am a DK girl. I always say DK all the way. So, okay. My next thing off the needles was also a work in progress on my last video. These are not really the right size for me, although they aren't too bad. So here they are. These are the Riptide mitts by Jennifer Shields Toland. They are just lovely. I was so happy with the way that they blocked out. Sorry, I'm trying to get them on my finger here correctly. They are beautiful. It's a very simple, easy, intuitive lace. You do have to pay attention. Obviously, when it's lace, you do. But they were just a very engaging knit. She has, I think she has a shawl, and she has a vest. She may have a cowl. I don't know. She's got quite a few things in this pattern. But what a lovely knit. And I like the palm because it's got some interest along the edges there. Great knit. So I know you guys are probably like, oh my gosh, lady, with your gift knitting, but this is how I get ahead of the game for holiday knits. So these are for a dear friend of mine. She is going to love them. The yarn I'm using is a DK weight. It was a merino yak silk blend. The dyer is no longer dyeing yarn, which is such a sad thing, but it was Sprigs and Stone, and this was the color either Cottontail or Chanterelle. I'm really not sure, but beautiful yarn. So squishy and soft. So, yep, gift knit number 2. Boom. Done. So, also then this one, I don't think that I actually showed these last time on the podcast. I had a lot of stuff going on. And again, I'm just in Smallville here. This is just what works for me right now. And although I do have some dream knitting, and I will share that with you in a few minutes. This is my next finished object and my 3rd gift knit. Oh, stop. Oh, I just love these. These are a gift for my oldest grandson, who is 19. And he is so funny because I did not think that he had any interest in socks. And he recently said to me, "This may not be part of your tradition. I'm not sure if I'm breaking tradition, but I was wondering if I can be on the list for socks next year." Ugh, like, is that dream words or what? I was so happy that he asked. It took a lot of courage for him to ask. He's a bit shy and can be a little awkward at times, so he's coming out of his shell, and I was just honored to think that he'd like a pair of socks. He's a bit of an outdoor guy, and so I just thought that this color was perfect for him. All right, again, just my recipe. I think I might have done a few more rows on the cuff here. I may have done like 20 rows on the cuff, 40 on the leg, which I used to do a little bit shorter leg, but I think I used to do 32 rows on the leg, but I like the little bit longer length on the leg, and people seem to appreciate that. And then for his, I think it is 49 rows on the foot. He's a men's US size 11 shoe. So, all right, I'm going to talk about the yarn. I did not have much left, and again, so the only thing I did here was the contrast on the heel. Because he has such a big foot, I was not sure that I would have enough to complete these, but I don't think I would have made it, actually. So this is what I had left. It's just a little bit. This is Northwoods Fibers, whom I love. She's out of the Pacific Northwest. This is her 75 Superwash Merino, 25% nylon, 245 yards in her Practical Magic colorway. When I posted these on Instagram, people just fell in love with the color. It was very tempting to get another skein of this, because I think that my husband would like this too, but I have so many skeins, I am just gonna use them up. So yeah, that was my third finished object, my last finished object, and I didn't quite make them matching on the toe. I don't know how come that happened. They are very, very, very close, but I'm off somewhere by just a very small amount, maybe a row or so. But it doesn't matter. I love it. It's unique that way, and that's what makes it handmade and special. So he's going to be thrilled. Okay, let's move on to the works in progress. I just have 2 of them today, which that's good. Although I am itching to cast on, which is a good thing for me because it's been a bit since I've really felt like casting on maybe something a little bit bigger or more involved. I've been sticking with the smaller projects. You know, I was in that instant gratification mode, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I do love my sock knitting. I always have socks on the needles, always. I like them. They're so portable. And, you know, if hubby says, hey, want to come with me here? I can just grab a project bag with my socks in it, and off I go. So I really do like them. And he was picking on me the last time last weekend we went to go see our little new grandson, and on the ride up, it's just like a 20-minute ride, and it was fine. It was daylight, but on the way home it was dark, and so I just picked up my knitting and started knitting, and he said, what? He was miffed, absolutely miffed that I could knit in the dark. Honestly, I have slowly over time here worked my way to be able to knit in the dark. Of course, you can't fix a mistake in the dark. I would have to turn on the overhead light, but it really cracks me up because he was almost horrified. Like, what are you, crazy? I get it, but it's perfectly fine. It's fine. And if you drop a stitch or whatever, you just put your project down and you fix it when you have a minute. So he's so funny. Okay, on to my works in progress. Sorry, I was off on a little tangent there. So my first one is the Mara shawl. I will put in a picture somewhere here, I think. And this was also on my needles in my last podcast. I have made some good progress on it. Show you guys. Okay, so here it is. And this is more of, she calls it a shawlette, which I actually like a lot. I've said it a million times. I don't like a big bulky shawl up around me. It's just, I get too hot. So anyway, this is it. I'm going to show that close. It's a very simple, I think it's a 16 row repeat. It's lovely. It really is. It has a little bit of, knitting, some purling, some ribbing, some eyelets. It goes quite quickly. I was very impressed. I can get this up here a little bit closer so you can see. Yes. This would make a lovely gift knit. I think this might be a gift knit. Anyway, my modifications, the only thing I've done is I've added a couple of repeats along here because I wanted it a little bit longer. This should block quite nicely and give me some length because, you're looking to have it come around your neck. And this is the halfway point. So it's a little short right now, but I think I'll be able to block it out and gain some length on it. So I am using a US 4 3.5 millimeter. Oh my gosh, I was able to actually see that. Usually I can't. The light is good here. And this is some yarn that I had hand dyed a few years ago. I tried my hand at dyeing. I loved it. It was an enjoyable experience and I would do it again, but I wouldn't. Hats off to you indie dyers out there. Good grief. It's a lot of work and you need a lot of commitment and time and space and all of it. So anyway, here's the yarn. It is a fingering weight. This was a Knit Picks yarn and I believe it was the 75-25 base. And I just added some speckles. It was my first time doing speckles and it came out very nice actually. I was really happy with it. So not sure who this is for, if it's for me or for a gift, but I like it because it's not taking me, whoops, it's not taking me a million years to get through. And the repeats are lovely. I can work on this and watch a podcast or do other things, and it's not that intense that that you can't do something else while doing it. So I love that. Love. So did I not say who it was by? It's Audrey Barrago Audrey Barrago Designs, and it is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. It's a relatively new release also. So that was works in progress number 1. Lately I've been just using baskets for my works in progress. Sometimes I think that when I see them it just makes me itchy to work on them as opposed to being in a project bag where it's kind of hidden and out of sight. So anyway, all right, my second work in progress is, of course, a sock. Look at this. Oh, these self-striping dyers they're just amazing to me. I mean, this one's got speckles in it, and how fun is that? So these are a pair of socks for my husband, and I am using one of my faves, Polka Dot Creek. And this is her DK self-striping sock set in the Thankful colorway. It's 75-25. And again, it's that 245 yards. And it came with 2 mini skeins so that you have enough for heels, toes, and cuffs. So I love this color so much. These are for my husband. I am so happy with it. Look at the speckled stripes too. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, this is my first time using the 9-inch circulars. I'm not sure. I'm a magic loop girl. I have been all the time, and although I am able to do this, in order to get started, I did my cuff on magic loop, and then I swapped to the 9-inch circulars when I got in the round, because I couldn't purl without fumbling on the 9-inch circulars. And I also thought for my first time, just get in a groove and do it on the stockinette section. I have very long fingers, so to get my fingers to function good around these needles is a little tricky for me. Not that I can't do it, and I am doing it, but I felt like I was a little fumbly with it. So I could probably practice, but I didn't think that they were any quicker than my magic loop, which I'm so accustomed to that, you know, things go fast. I am told I'm a pretty quick knitter. So I also, when I got to the heel, I swapped back to magic loop, and to do my gusset decreases, I also swapped back, and now I'm back on the 9-inch circulars. So I just did it to try something new. I think it's good to learn new things, and I think it's good to have these things in your back pocket. You know, I hear so many people rave about them, and this is, you know, US 3.25 9-inch circulars Chagu, and if you want to do color work, it's a good option, or you can do DPNs, which I don't have a whole lot of experience with DPNs, but I'm not opposed to them. So anyway, not sure about them. Glad that I am giving them a whirl, but again, when I go to knit it, and I know you have to hold on to them lightly, but the way I tension my yarn, it's a little bit fumbly for me. I can't get my yarn closer to the needle in my tensioning. So it's funny, you get conditioned to the way you knit, and then, you know, something comes along and you're like, this feels so strange. So I'm not sure if I will do that in the future, but I really wanted to give it a try, and I'm super glad I did, knowing that I can do it if I had to for some reason, you know, or I can do color work that way if I wanted to do a color work sock. So yeah, that is my second work in progress, and that's my 9-inch circular ramble. All right. Okay, and so I thought I would talk about a couple of projects that I have my eye on. I'm ready to dive back into some sweater knitting. I feel like I'm finally to the point where I can concentrate longer. I don't even know if concentrate is the word. I just feel like maybe I can, you know, get back to some sweater knitting and a little bit bigger, more involved project. So that is such a relief to have that coming back. My husband did go back to work, and so I feel like I have my routine back, and I knit whenever I have the opportunity. I do not sit and knit all day, but I do knit all the time that I can. If I have a half hour before I have to be somewhere, I sit and knit. So that's how I get so much socks and all of that stuff done. And I knit in the car because my husband is so good about driving, and it's just good to be back into a routine and feel better and all the things. So anyway, I have my eye on a couple of cardigans. I love cardigans. I only have one that I wear, and that's my Felix, which I would love to do another one of those, the Felix cardigan. I did it in an acrylic yarn. Not super happy with the way it's holding up, meaning that it already looks like it's a worn in cardigan. And, you know, I wanted to try it. I love the fit of the Felix. So in a different yarn, I definitely think I want to do another one of those. But that's not where I'm at right this second. So sidetracked all the time. All right, I have my notes in front of me. The first one is a relatively new release, and it is called the All Yellow Cardigan, and it's by Mayhew KP or Mayhew Knits. It is done in a sport weight yarn on a US 6 4.4 millimeter needle at a 21 stitch gauge. And I did swatch with some DK yarn that I had, but I felt like at that gauge it was going to take me forever. Like the sweater doesn't grow very fast at a 21 stitch gauge, and I'm not sure I'm ready quite for that yet. I think I need a little bit more instant gratification than that. But that doesn't mean that I won't cast this on. And I actually have some terrific yarn, and I actually swatched with a couple different needle sizes just to see what I would get with it. And so the yarn is the Fiber Company in the Cumbria, and I've had this in my stash for a while. This is a worsted weight. 236 yards on 100 grams, and it's 18 to 20 stitches. It's a 90% wool and 10% mohair. It is really super nice. This is the Barrow colorway. And I've had this for not quite a year yet, waiting for a nice project to come along. So I swatched this on a US 10 to see what I would get for gauge, and I got a 14 stitch gauge. And then I swatched it on an 8, US 8. Sorry, I don't know the millimeter on that one. And I got 18 stitches. So I could do this pattern at an 18 stitch gauge, and because I have less stitches than is called for in the pattern, less stitches, I did some math and I could do a smaller size, and the fabric is really nice. So I may do that. Or I could do the other pattern that's on my watch list, and I just found out about in this yarn at the 14 stitch gauge, and it is called the Plummery Cardigan, and it is a free pattern from Sandy Sessler Designs. I will keep forgetting to say I will link all of this down below. I caught a glimpse of this pattern on Instagram from Green Mountain Spinnery. They posted about her. She frequents the yarn store. This is a bottom-up construction, which I have not done one of those, I don't think, but that's okay. It's done on a US 10.5 6.5 millimeter needles, and it is a 14 stitch gauge on worsted weight. So this would totally work for that. It's the cutest little cardigan. Simple, has a little bit of interest at the bottom, and yeah, I really liked it. So it's between those two cardigans as to what I will cast on. I do have enough yardage for either or. And of course I need a little bit more yardage because I have a long torso and I have long arms. I am a 6'1" person, so I need to add length to everything I knit. All right, the third project I may cast on just was released yesterday, I think. It's called the Traveler's Cowl, and it's Andrea Mowry's new design. And the reason that this held such appeal to me is it's in DK weight, and honestly, I'm not sure what she used. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, she used a hand spun yarn. It's really quite a nice knit. Anyway, it is like 400 yards to complete in a DK weight. So I happen to have this, which is Yarn Hero. I love these guys. These are a color changing yarn. This is a great option for if you cannot afford Spin Cycle and you need a little less expensive. I think that this is a nice option. Anyway, this is her DK weight. It's called Color Mix DK. It's superwash merino. It's 240 yards, and it's considered a DK light worsted, and this is the color Bird's Nest, which all the skeins are different, even though they're the same color. And so I don't know, I really thought that's a great use for this yarn. You can see they do vary, which is okay. So the cowl tends to stripe along the way. So that is an option also. It doesn't look like it requires too much brain power, and for me, that's a good option right now. That was a few of the items that I had for dream knitting, and I think I'm going to put one of those items on my needles. I need something that's going to be easy to socialize with, because our winter woodland retreat is next week, which we started planning this a year ago, or a good 9 months ago anyway, and it's so exciting. We really can't wait. I can't wait to see everybody. I know that everybody who is coming is very excited. It's a small group of us, which I absolutely love. It should be very cozy, and looking forward to seeing all of you ladies who are coming. So what else do I have to say? Oh, everybody is doing their 2023 review of all their knits, and I'm not going to do that. But I did write down everything that I made, and I was really surprised with how many projects I actually completed last year. So my total number of projects was 50, and that surprised me. I didn't think I did that many. So I thought I'd do a quick list of what I did. And of course, I did some test knits, I did some sample knits, and I did a lot of gift knitting. And that really, that adds up so quickly, because the gift knitting is smaller items. So here's a quick list of what I did. If you're not interested, I get it. I'll see you the next time. So I did 8 adult sweaters, 3 child sweaters, a child-sized poncho, 4 shawls, a baby blanket, a granny stripe crochet blanket, 1 bralette, 3 hats, 1 scarf, 2 cowls, 16 adult-sized socks, 5 shorty socks, which were for my grandkids, a pair of baby socks, a pair of mitts, a shrug, and 1 vest. Wow, I was so blown away when I went and added all that up. So anywho, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for everybody who watched my last video, and all the lovely comments and all the kind words that continue to come in, and all the warm wishes for my husband, who, like I said, he's back to work. Life is getting back to a more manageable place, where there's just, it's just a breathe, routine is essential for my well-being, and it's just great to be back in that slot and in that zone. So I can't think of anything else I have to say, but I hope everybody is well. We did get some snow here, which was exciting, And that's enough rambling. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and like. It really helps keep me out in the front of other knitters, and hopefully gain some people along the way. And thank you again so much. All right, everybody, have a terrific day. I'll see you hopefully in a few weeks after my retreat. Take care. Bye.